You've watched Married with Children back in the day?
Yes.
They have a show on What is it, Bravo?
Yeah.
On Bravo that's called Manzo'd with Children.
Yeah, I hate that name so much.
Called what?
Manzo'd with Children.
See, this is why I'm annoyed
Manzo.
here.
Okay, all
He
right.
came up with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I liked, whatever. It's like, you know.
Now, you didn't see out there being an ex-police officer the stuff going on with the girl from Real Housewives of New Jersey who went to jail?
Oh, I wrote about it, sure.
Oh, you did? What is it? Teresa, how do you say it? Guidici?
I say Judice.
Judice.
Yeah.
You wrote about it. What did you write about it?
I wrote pretty much that she got exactly what she deserved. She's a greedy bitch.
Yeah, Randy's kind of blunt, just to let you know.
I'm picking that up.
Okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. So we're going to get into everything now. Randy, you are an ex-police officer, obviously. To
I was
start,
a retired police officer.
yeah, is that the wrong terminology? Retired police officer.
Retired, that is correct.
Okay. When did you retire?
When? 4 years ago.
4 years ago. When did you get started? When did you start your career?
I started as a Princeton, New Jersey policeman in 1976.
Yeah, that was the year I was born. Nice. So I told you I live right next to Princeton, so I'm familiar with that area.
I was a cop there for 10 years, then before it was Las Vegas Metro.
And you were a Vegas police officer for how long?
24 years.
24 years. Now let's get into the guts of it. So now, obviously, we'll get into what you do now, but you were actually featured on the show, one of the most famous shows on TV, Cops. Besides The Simpsons, probably the longest running show. Am I right? Correct about that?
Yep, that's right.
And you were, in 1989, you were featured on Cops.
1989, 1994, 1986.
Okay. And you were on, and you had told me that you were the most featured police officer on that show?
Uh-huh.
Cool. There you go. So now, does that have anything to do with your acting career? Were you called because people saw you on that show?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Okay,
When,
that's awesome.
they were, I didn't know what movie they were filming, but it was the movie Casino. You know, I don't know if you're hearing this, but I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Oh, you are getting feedback?
Yeah.
No, we can do about that?
If you're not getting it, it doesn't matter, but...
No, we're not hearing it. You sound totally fine. Is it bothering you?
Okay. Well, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I know.
I can deal with it.
All right, listen, I'll talk to you briefly. We don't have to go into it. I just appreciate you calling. We'll talk again, and it'll be a better setup, but this is actually pretty professional. So you did Casino.
So what happened was I got a phone call from a casting agent
Okay.
saying there's going to be a movie shot in Vegas, and the director wants realism in the part of a police officer. Would you be willing to come in and do an audition? So I said, sure. I had no idea what the movie was. And I walked into the hotel room, and who's standing there but Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
So my audition consisted of me telling them war stories about being a cop. And they said, you got the part.
Really? That easy?
Mm-hmm. That easy.
So did they mention that they had seen you on Cops?
The casting agent, that's how I got set up there.
Okay, but they didn't see you on Cops?
I don't recall.
So when you were telling me, which I think is really cool, is that when you did that scene, that pretty much was ad-libbed between you and De Niro?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Did you see that part where he's like,
Of course.
how's your wife? She's pregnant.
And everybody laughed at me. Everyone knows I've never been married and don't like kids.
So you did a couple other movies after that. We'll do it real quick. You did a couple other movies after that.
Right?
Any specific movies that stand out to you, or is Casino the most recognized role that you have?
That's the most recognizable, but they were on Miss Congeniality too, and also Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek.
Yep.
And I can legitimately say that I was between Salma Hayek's legs for 3 days because my part was delivering her baby on the bridge at Hoover Dam.
You remember that?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Not for nothing, though. That was a pretty crazy time to be a cop in Vegas, too, right? I mean, so you were a cop in Vegas, what, the 80s?
I was
80s and 90s.
a cop from 86 to 2010.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not like the Vegas that it is today. Like, you know, it still kind of had a lot of that like old school feel, I guess, to it, right?
When I first got here, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is it true, Randy, that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Like from a police officer, is it true?
Oh, that's absolutely not true.
Wait, what? Before you go, honestly, like you're a police officer in Las Vegas. Like, what's some of the craziest shit you've ever seen?
Oh,
he's got stories. Look at that.
Well, let's see. I have to say that one of the craziest things was at the Luxor Hotel, which has, when it was first built, is a pyramid, and the balconies face off into the interior of the hotel.
Okay.
And one night, one of the unlucky gamblers decided that he had lost enough, and so he did a swan dive off the 35th floor
Swan dive.
and landed right at the registration desk.
God.
And pretty much exploded.
Oh man.
And that didn't do too much for the tourists that were waiting in line to